Hello, Deep Mindfulness Collective. This right here, right now, it's the joy of being a live stream coming to you live from Brooklyn, New York. And if you're joining us anywhere other than twitch.tv/deepmindfulness, well, damn it, you're in the goddamn wrong place. Folks, very excited to be here. We're mixing up the set today. Just before I was like, shuffle everything around. Put this statue out, and I was like, I don't know. Am I really that Buddhist to have this be like the thing? Anyway, point is, folks, lovely to see you as always. How's it going? What the hell's up? What is going on? Folks, what is the news? I like this because the Buddha is now praying to me. That's accurate. Oh my God, we have a new follow here. Jock Explicit, thank you so much for the follow. Lovely to have you here with us. Jock, big question of the day. Where are you located? That's what I want to know. Where are people coming from? People who are beginning to pop in and join us here. Where are you located? Where do you find yourself? Jesse BK. I think you're joining us from BK. Jess brought me here. Well, lovely. Thank you so much for joining us. Jess BKK. I realized that could be Bangkok. That would actually, I think that's the airport, so that would make more sense. Here's Jean from Brooklyn. Lovely to see you here. Switzerland. Joe, welcome from Switzerland. We have folks from Sweden who are here too. And I think it's the same place. I'm from America, so I'm pretty sure those are one country. Kingston, Ontario. Welcome. Rory, great to see you here. Let's see here. Move this over. Beep up, beep up. Just to BK, I used to be in Bangkok. Right now I'm in Switzerland. Excellent. Okay, so I was right. I thought maybe it was Brooklyn, but that was very Brooklynite of me. BKK, and the other one is, what's the other airport? Babe, what's the other airport in Bangkok?
I think it's DMK.
DMK? Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know why that was an important thing to remember right now, but I did. Joss from, Joe Explicit, Joss from Swiss. Let's see, Scott Nesbin, hello from the Bay Area. Great to see you, Scott. Nice to see you here with us. Sporty Spice Girl, a happy last day of August from Toronto. Oh my God, I forgot it was the last day of August. What a lovely day. I'm excited for today. Yeah, DMK, exactly. 613 Style, North Bay over here. Oh, we have, wait, North Bay. Meaning, wait, is North Bay like East Bay? Are we talking about the same bay here? Are we referring to one bay? 2020 CL from the UK. Guys, this is a pretty international audience. Pretty cool, if you ask me. If we're rating our audience based on how international it is at any given moment, we're pretty much winning this war as we speak. Okay, real quick here. Excellent, folks. Excellent, excellent. So, folks, excited for today. So, just so everyone knows, if you're new here, this is a relatively, some folks are just trickling in. Each time we meet, we have a meditation. We hang out a little bit, chit-chat about your experience. Some people jump on Zoom to talk about their experience using their pie hole. Some people will just type about their experience after the meditation. And the people who tell me about what's going on for them, like, I'm trying to get my levels exactly right for the recording. The people who tell me what's going on or what they're interested in, this kind of thing, in their practice, those folks end up getting a meditation that is customized for them. So each meditation is different. Each meditation is unique. I was growing up, I liked jam bands, and I always admired. Went to school for fine art, and it always bugged me that if you made a piece of fine art, it just stayed the same, and you could change the context, but the artwork itself would often stay the same. So I was interested in making performance or conceptual art or things that would actually change each time it was presented. And I think that kind of improvisational sort of aspect made me very interested in guiding meditation in a specific way. So, Joe Explicit is asking, and where are you from? So I am currently live in Brooklyn, New York. And that said, beep up, beep up, I'm from Rhode Island, which is a teeny tiny state here in the United States. Thank you so much. Oh, my kind wife brought me a beaker full of steaming hot water. Oh, a new subscriber, Gabriel Lives 8. Is that Lives? Well, thank you so much. That's very kind. Oh my God, another subscriber. 2020 CL just subscribed. Thank you so much. You got an emote. Thanks. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. Aw, thanks for the folks are gift subbing. That's very kind. Thank you, folks. It's very kind for the support and also the group appreciation here. Really appreciate that. So grab your beaker full of scalding hot water. I just turned the microphone off a minute ago. I was like, babe, can you get me some scalding water from the bathroom? Which is a funny sentence, but that's where the hottest water comes out in our house. So folks, we're going to be meditating for 25 minutes. And what that's going to mean is we're going to probably have all sorts of things arise, impulses to move the body, the mind thinking this thing and thinking that thing, and all of those things are fine. They're all natural. What I'm going to recommend is that we keep the body still for the duration of the sit, but if we have the impulse to move or adjust, we need to measure whether that's skillful or not. If we have a background with any trauma or anything like that, we want to be very, very gentle. Feel free to adjust the body, feel free to open the eyes, feel free to look around or even stop the meditation entirely. And then sometimes we want to dig in a little bit and just keep the body still. If it's causing more anxiety to keep the body still, then just make a slight adjustment. Just do everything very slowly, slightly, this kind of thing. And it may seem impossible, especially if you're new, that you could meditate for 25 whole minutes. How is that possible? But it's actually very easy. The time flies very, very quickly. You'd be surprised. The plan today is to meditate on kind awareness and kind awareness and the part of ourself that feels like it needs a break, because there's parts of us that are constantly fighting and they worry all the time. So there's part of us that can be like, what about this thing and what about that thing? If there's any part of you now that's sitting here hanging out and feels like there's some other thing I need to do, or the impulses to move the body, there's some sort of drive within us to do some more thing, to grab onto something else. That's the part of us that we're going to be relating to here. The term kind awareness is pretty specific. So awareness is this ability of the mind to hold a large collection of material together. So we can zoom in really small, but if we, for instance, go out in nature, or the classic example I've heard is the Grand Canyon, where you go and just to apprehend it, you have to have a very wide awareness because it's so large. So awareness is this, open experience. You over time can train how to have awareness in a smaller area, but it's an open experience. And the kindness is just that awareness is welcoming whatever is happening, whatever is occurring. It has a kind of welcoming quality to it, this sort of kind appreciation of what's happening. So we don't have to do a lot. We don't have to be like, I need to be super loving and nice. We just a little bit of a touch of welcomeness to that awareness in that way. But I'll guide through all of this, so don't you worry. It is no big deal. Excellent. Okay, I need to figure out what this is here. Sorry, I have to ask my tech guy a question, so I'm going to take a quick screenshot before we begin. Okay, excellent. Okay, great. So folks, finding that nice comfortable position that you can maintain for the duration of the practice. And we will begin. Oh, thank you so much. I don't know, my voice just, thanks for, it's, folks can't see it on the screen. Oh yeah, Joe Explicit said, your voice is super soothing. Well, that's helpful. I'm glad I don't have a super annoying tinny voice, because that would be less than ideal for this application. Okay, so we'll begin. Babe, would you cage the monster? Thanks. Our dog has a special knack for knowing when the meditation starts and then suddenly making lots of sound. Beginning by taking a few comfortable deep breaths and just feeling the body rise and fall. If we'd like to practice with the eyes closed, allowing the eyes to close now. If we'd like to practice with the eyes open, just finding a single point to rest the eyes on. Each time we arrive at a meditation, we arrive with the momentum of all of the previous moments. Our life, each experience is built out of the momentum of previous moments. So we've made certain decisions, we've been subject to certain circumstances. All of this rolling along, making up this particular moment. So if we've experienced a lot of stress or worry, agitation or sadness or joy or confusion, anything we've experienced a fair amount may be playing out in this particular moment. And that's not a problem. So whatever's arising, recognizing it as nature. Physically relaxing the body. And if it feels like the body is already physically relaxed, seeing if we can relax it even more. And rather than relaxing any particular place in the body, let's see if we can do all of the body together. As though we were letting go at a cellular level in every direction. As though if we let go deeply enough, the flesh and bone would separate and just atomize. And getting an overall sense of the body. All feel sensations. Not any particular one, just a general overall capture. And of course, there can be part of our experience that is agitated or nervous, anxious, as we feel the body. And there's also part of our experience that can be very quiet, spacious, open, and so we're simply attending to this aspect. This is one expression of awareness. The part of us that knows the experience without needing it to be different or judging. This is the awareness. And if at any point we get drawn into any particular sensation, simply introducing that sensation to the overall experience of the body once more. Of course, at times we'll become distracted, drift away. This is not a problem, simply coming back to the overall experience of the body. If the mind is pulled towards particular areas of the body, one particular sensation or another, simply opening back, introducing that sensation to all of the other sensations of the body. And for some, opening to all sensations will be easy and available, and for others will just stay with the body. And for some of us, it's easy to find the part of us that could use a break, that struggles, that's always trying to manage our experience, that worries or judges. If this part arises, again, simply introducing it to all of the sensations, introducing it to this kind awareness, this welcoming, knowing experience. And for some, it will be more challenging to find this part of us. So without needing to do a lot of thinking, simply letting our intuition know that part which has struggled in the last day, week, month. Not the thoughts that come with it, but the body, the sensations that have arisen in the body, that have pushed against any particular moment. These may be arising now, wanting this meditation to be a certain way, or judging ourselves for not doing it right. If there's any part of us in this moment that would wave that magic wand and change anything that's occurring right now, in this case we'll call that resistance. And that's not a bad thing. It's simply another shape of nature. Another movement of the flow of sensation. And so we're simply introducing it to the larger river of all of our awareness, all of the movement and change and stillness that comes with an ordinary human experience of a body. If at any point contact with this more challenged part is overwhelming or just feels like a little too much, this is important information, so we can adjust the practice. We can try to introduce it to all of the other sensations, and if this doesn't work for us, we can broaden our practice by opening the eyes, letting them rest on a single point, or even pausing the practice. If there's any sense of a me, an I, a self that this experience is happening to, sometimes this is a kind of resistance. And again, it's not a bad thing, but including that in this introduction of our experiences to the overall experience. and over again, simply coming back. Noticing whatever experience is arising and introducing it to the overall experience. If it's not too distracting or spacey, we can begin to introduce these more localized experiences to the overall experience of all of our sensing. The general capture of all seeing, hearing, and feeling at this moment. Our difficulty as humans is often caused as though we were trying to drink a small cup of water with a teaspoon of salt. Our troubles are so concentrated, so intense. But the same teaspoon of salt in a lake of water, it's very different. What happens is that our difficulties have a kind of pull. They cause the mind to zoom in and focus on them. So no matter how many times we get pulled in, we simply start the process over and introduce this smaller, more concentrated experience to the overall experience. It's literally training the mind to have a broader perspective. Distraction arises, not a problem. Simply introduce it to the larger experience. Difficult emotion, pain in the body, even pockets of pleasant sensations or joy. Not allowing the mind to do what it tends to do, which is shrink around them. For a moment, taking in everything that we can experience at this moment. Letting the mind take this soft snapshot of our entire sensory universe right now, any thought or emotion, body sensation, sound, sight, whatever happens to be arising in this particular moment. in order to come in contact with this overall experiencing. We need this awareness. So we're training ourselves over time to rely more and more on this kind awareness. And what if this kind awareness was me? What if this is actually the true me, the true self? This soft, spacious, welcoming, open experience. What if when challenges arose, this was the experience I, the self, returned to, the position from which it experienced these difficulties? What kind of impact might that have on our experience of the world? We'll end the formal practice when the bell goes silent. Noticing that even my words can create a kind of gravitational pull. The mind might already be hearing that bell. The body might be physically preparing for movement for some future moment that has not arrived. And that's fine, simply introducing these experiences to the overall. Staying with the practice, staying in stillness, allowing a tiny bit of light to enter the eyes, eventually allowing the eyes to rest on a single point as they fully open. Letting the open spaciousness of seeing, letting this be a guide to how we might open awareness to include the entire visual experience along with the awareness we've been cultivating. And in this way, allowing this particular moment to be the great teacher that shows us how we might bring this practice into every aspect of our life. Okay. So making any adjustments you need to allow the body to be comfortable. stretcheroonie you'd like. If your legs are asleep, mine are doing okay today, surprised. Usually I have one that's really out for the count. It's like in that wrestling sleeper hold the whole time, and then it's done. So beep pop 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 beep pop pop. Yeah, so okay folks, adjusting to the world, noticing the sense of solidity and worldness, selfness that might be arising, and again seeing if you can introduce that to the overall experience. There's the interface itself, the computer, and this kind of thing. So let me know what that was like. Challenges, difficulties, anything interesting that came up, anything boring that came up. A lot of developing a significant meditation practice involves actually writing down or talking to somebody else about what happened in our practice. Joe Explicit says, oh wow. Well, thanks, Joe. Thanks for the wow. Let's see here. I also want to give people an opportunity, if you want to jump on the Zoom. That is a voice connection, obviously. You know, you've used Zoom before. And we can chat. I can actually hear your voice, see you if you'd like to be seen, and then that can often help get into the details of your practice, what happened for you, challenges, these kind of things. So yeah, you get to be our guest for a few moments. Yes, ask your question or give your report, and then we can go from there. But let me know if you want to jump on the Zoom, because we don't launch it until somebody says, I would like to jump on the Zoom, and then we do that. Okay, let's see here. Oh, thank you, Tomlin. Okay, Tomlin always badgers me about this, and it's really true. We have a Discord. This is the place where we can hang out and, as a community, chit-chat like kitty cats between streams whenever we want, ask questions, talk about stuff that's fun, meditation, that kind of thing. So please feel free to join us there. Love to have you, as always. Follow that link and you can find your way right along. Okay, 613 Style says, that made my brain feel like a TARDIS, which is folks don't know, is a time travel machine from Doctor Strange, Doctor Who. So much bigger on the inside than when I opened my eyes. The world seemed to get smaller. Okay, so a couple things. One is that's one of the features of the TARDIS that's cute. It's a telephone booth, and then when you go inside, it's like this giant room. That's sort of, even that room is like not the limits of it. It's like some sort of weird interdimensional thing. So a couple things is that sense of it being small, right? The world sort of seeing, oh, this is very solid. Introduce that particular thing, that solidity, that thing that seems limited, to that openness. You know the experience of the openness, you just had it, you're describing it. So introduce the two now. It might seem confusing or counterintuitive, but that is exactly what we're doing, just over and over again. The sense of the limitedness, introducing it to that overall experience, and then the system, the body-mind, has less of a need to keep things contained, and then we have the luxury of being able to sort of fluctuate between things that are very organized, and then things that are more spacious and open in that way. Okay, I'm shrinking here in my seat. Okay, beep pop pop beep pop pop. Let's see here. Paparazzi style covering the camera. Okay, cool. Let's take a look here. What do we have here? Okay, oh, I'd like to be on Zoom. Great. Let me open that up. Beep up up beep up up up. Zoom is opening. And we'll read the next. We'll see if we can get this working, because it takes a second. Beep up up. Home meetings. Here we go. Okay, Zoom is now open. Says one participant. I think that's me. Okay, so here, I'll put the Zoom back in case you want to jump in. Anyone who wants to jump on, we'll chit chat on Zoom for a little bit, and then we'll get back to the chat. Oh, here we go. Beep up up. Gene, welcome. Okay, let me get this set up real quick. Okay, just one sec. Okay, the camera didn't freeze. That's good. Oh, here we go. Oh my God, I did nothing and it immediately fixed itself. Okay, there we go. Okay, Jean, will you do a little sound check? Make sure we can hear you.
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Great.
Excellent. So great. How can I be helpful?
So I just wanted to share quickly a little bit of feedback.
Mm-hmm.
I've been sharing on many of these streams, either in the chat or on Zoom, that I've been struggling with like mental chatter or physically moving around and twitching.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just been finding that the more that I practice, the longer that I do it, the less I twitch and the less my mind chatters away.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely moved a little bit today, and I definitely heard mental chatter, but it was a lot less. So I'm hoping that that will continue to evolve over time. And secondly, you both last week and this week mentioned how sometimes the mind really focuses very, narrows in on one thing. And last week you mentioned that sometimes it narrows in on something that's very unpleasant and kind of gets stuck on it.
Mm-hmm.
And during that meditation, it really helps me prepare for my afternoon, because I had all this stuff to do and I was all angry about it. And then I started thinking about how I had a friend coming over. The friend was going to help me. Isn't it great to have a friend? We had some tacos for later. So it totally changed my entire outlook. And I realized that, yes, there would be some hard work, but it would get done and it wouldn't be nearly as unpleasant as I was anticipating it to be.
That's awesome. Yeah, Raquel and I recently I think I mentioned this on the stream, but we've been writing this like carefully built document on like what is overwhelm and how do you get through it. But the whole premise is that it needs to be 60 seconds. We're doing it for this for Madrona meditation, which we've talked about, this organization. And how do you explain all overwhelm? Because it's an extremely broad topic. It's like a sadness overwhelm or anger overwhelm or all these things. How do you describe this broad set of things in a very simple way? And then what way would you encourage people to deal with that thing, given that there's so many possibilities? It could be, like a shame overwhelm. It could be, it could be non-emotional. It could be the mind just chattering or like yelling or something like this. Or I don't know if that's non-emotional, but so how do you actually describe that? And so we finally came to this description that overwhelm is the two things: the difficulty getting larger and the mind getting smaller. And so a lot of and it's the teaspoon of salt in the water analogy that I gave, is like, drinking that water is, it's undrinkable. But if you open the container, if you give more perspective, so we're basically saying broadening perspective in whatever way we can, talking to somebody else, asking for help, doing some exercise, like all these things seem very different, but a lot of what they actually do is make the perspective of what we're experiencing larger. It includes more material, so the mind can't shrink around that little thing as much as it tends to. This is something I always wondered. Why is it that when I feel really bad and I talk to someone else who is struggling and they feel really bad and I help them, does it feel better, right? And I just talk about what's going on for them and don't talk about myself. It often feels very relieving. And I think it's because the mind has to include more material. So that's exactly what you're describing, is sort of, you're describing a cognitive thing. Well, if I think about it from this other perspective, but we're just opening perspective in that way. And then just to mention about the mental chatter, honestly, I wouldn't worry about mental chatter. I would worry about getting pulled away by mental chatter. So if it's talking the whole time, that's not a problem. The mind can talk all at once. And in this technique, we're just introducing that particular material to the overall experience. So it's not a problem. The only danger is if the mind talks and then we just follow that stream and then we get pulled away. So in actuality, it's actually getting pulled away that's the issue. It's not the mind talking. Does that clarify at all?
It does, yeah. And sometimes I do get so distracted that I'll come back to your voice and you'll make your next comment and I'll be like, oops, I have no idea what he's talking about. So that's especially what I want to avoid, I guess.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining here. I see that Nils is also here. I want to invite Nils to join. Okay, Nils is joining. So we'll see. Nils, are you there? I'm going to unmute you. Okay. Beep up, beep up. Okay, so Nils is on the line technically with us, but not unmuted audio or video, so that makes it hard to hard to know what's going on here. So I'm going to pause this window for a sec. Nils, let me know when you either unmute or unmute and unvideo, or show the video, and then we can pop you in here, chit chat like kitty cats. Okay, so in the meantime, before you get here, Nils, I'm going to read some more comments. Let's see here. Beep bop, beep bop, bop, bop. Oh, Joe Explicit says, sometimes something that happened is when you mentioned the bell, I felt the bell resonating through me, and my heart I felt the vibrations through it, and it freaked me out a bit. Yeah, I mean, this is a large part. This is something that people don't consider a lot, but a lot of the world that we think of as out there is actually occurring within us. So the sound of the bell, like right now, it's like, here we go, like this, this thing. Even to know what it is, to know what its function is, the mind has to hear some degree of a sound. And that's just, a very real part. The mind is often producing stuff internally to help us make sense of the world. If we see a ladder, it's like its function is built into us to a degree that the mind quickly flashes what it's for, how it might be used, even to understand what it is. It's not like a pile of rope in some, weird shape. We understand what it does, what it is, without having to think about it very much. The mind just sort of does it automatically. So that's one side, the mind producing that. The other side is that is then anything. So it happened to be the bell, but anything could resonate through our experience, right? We could feel a burp, and all of a sudden the waves of that experience within us could actually sort of shake and rearrange the experience of the body-mind in some way. And that can be nerve-wracking. That can be like, oh my God, like the system feels like it's reorganizing itself. When we have these big revelatory experiences, that's what happens. The system internally reorganizes itself in a way that is surprising. So I'm trying to break down the causal link. Like the mind heard the bell, it resonated through the body. There was a rearrangement, and that rearrangement brought on fear. Each one of those things is separate. We can have fear that's unrelated to anything. The body can just produce fear. We can have a rearrangement that's surprising, that doesn't require fear, doesn't require the mind to hear a bell. We can hear a bell in the mind, and it can just sort of come and go either way. So I'm just trying to disaggregate those pieces, so just so you know. But if at any point you feel kind of like panicked or freaked out, you can always stop. What's likely happening is a little bit of the ground, or the place that feels like the stability of existing, shook a little bit. And often there's this tension between on one hand, freedom, and on the other hand, safety. And the system that's used to being safe, in part, it has to be deconstructed in order to have this kind of freedom, and there's a little tension there. So it's a natural thing to happen. It's not a problem. Just know that that's something that can arise. Sometimes the system can get very panicked over things that are not terribly problematic in and of themselves. So hopefully that helps clarify a little bit. Jess BKK said, I have trouble staying focused during the meditation. And that's also not uncommon. That's a sort of something it'll work through over time. It's a numbers game. If the mind is so used to zapping around and bouncing all over the place, and then we say, okay, please stay with this general experience, especially today we did a pretty diffuse, soft experience, it can be hard for the mind to stick with that. Okay. My mind wandered around a lot. When starting the go deep in my mind, I disconnect automatically. Sorry. When starting to go deep in my mind, I disconnect automatically. Okay. So I'm not quite sure what you mean by go deep in my mind. We'll just, I'll read further and see if that clarifies itself. Oof. Bumping into the world. Okay. Today, what made me anxious was to go back to the real world. Okay. Opening my eyes made my heart race because I felt disconnected to the real world. It felt disconnected to the real world. Okay. It was before you hit the bell. It was when you mentioned the bell. It was as if my body did the bell, and its resonance grabbed my heart. This is interesting. We're having a few people having this sort of thing of the internal resonance hitting them in a certain way. It was a real neat feeling. I just panicked over that feeling. Very interesting. Okay, so we have two people who had very similar experiences. This is not that common because these are not super uncommon experiences, but this is pretty particular, unless this is one person with two usernames just pretending they really want their comment addressed, so they're writing it twice, which I don't think is what's happening. Let's see here. Oh, I see. The last one is from Joe Explicit. Okay. Oh, okay. That makes much more sense. Okay, Joe, this is you restating what you were saying. Okay, now I'm less confused. Okay, that was less of a weird coincidence. So just going back real quick to Jean's comments here. I had trouble staying focused. When I go deep, my mind disconnect automatically. Today made me anxious was to go back to the real world. Opening my eyes, my heart raced because I felt disconnected from the real world. Okay. Okay, so I said at the beginning of the meditation that our experience is built out of momentum, all of the momentum of the previous moments. Part of that are decisions that we've made throughout our life. You've decided to buy a computer, so therefore you have a computer here to have this experience, or a phone, or however you're getting here. Or you stole it. Hey, listen. Or maybe you built it out of just the sand and bits and pieces that you found around the world. You're on a desert island and you got some Wi-Fi out there. So however you got there, it was a set of decisions that got you there. So in the same way, if we have a tendency to be a little worried about the world, and we have an experience where the worry sort of goes down, the visual world, the visual is just an example, but seeing the world can suddenly make the system go, wait, remember, you're supposed to keep worrying about this thing. Worry is supposed to be there all the time. I'm here to keep you safe. Just worry a little bit all the time. And I promise you'll be safe. This is the sort of message that our mind gives us. The problem is that, again, we're built out of momentum. So we worry because it feels like that'll give us some relief, and then we go to bed and we can't stop worrying, and we wake up during the night and the mind keeps worrying, or we go on a vacation and the entire time we're just like anxious, and the system is sort of like concerned and buzzing, and we can't ever sort of stop because the system is so used to being concerned and worried. And of course we're in a very crazy time right now, so the system is worrying and a little more panic than usual. So part of what we're doing is teaching the system that it can take a break, that it doesn't actually have to do things all the time. Sometimes at the beginning of a meditation, I'll tell people, listen, this is a time when you don't need to do anything. You don't need to meditate even. You don't need to be better at the world. You don't need to be a good person or be a cool person or solve a problem. This is a time when you can let go of the need to do anything, because it seems like we need to do something all the time. I need to take a break. Even that, right? I need to water the plants. I need to get to bed. God, I need to get to bed right now. There's always this forward pushing need, and if we can't learn to take a break from that, we can't be free from that. And so that's a lot of the reason why people will pick these adrenaline filled experiences, because the experience is so shocking. It's like I'm jumping out of a plane. It's like there's no way to fight how intense it is, and so the system can actually rest. So it actually feels very relieving. I'm just falling out of a plane, and there's nothing, there's no choice. I just have to have all this adrenaline and this kind of thing. So we're training the system that it doesn't actually need to fight or keep going in this way. So that may or may not be your experience. Just want to, see, feel that out. If that sounds like it's connected to your experience, let me know. And, that would be generally my take. I might be way diagonally off, but it's possible you relaxed, the eyes open, the visual reminder occurred of worry, right? So that probably means that it could mean, this is what happens for me, is that my mind gets fixated on all these things that I need to do. And it's like I look over here and I'm like, ooh, I got to paint that thing, or ooh, that thing's blah, 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 or oh, there's one more detail over here. And as someone who's a fine artist, my background is in fine art, and I built my whole home and all this stuff, all these details, I can make things nicer by using this kind of discernment. But what happens is that the mind will get sort of obsessed about these details, and it can find flaws in everything and is constantly looking around. There's something wrong. I mean, I can look at any object and be like, and it can remind me of something that I have to do or that I'm worried about or concerned or whatever. And so I have to actively stop the mind from doing that by like just attending to other qualities, how rich and beautiful it is, how complex and layered and these kind of things. So that's the way I get around that. And if I don't actively deprogram the mind from being reminded of worry, it just won't stop. It'll just cascade and be like freaked out, honestly, if I can't train it in that way. Lovely. I'm glad that makes sense. I'm very happy that makes sense. So folks, real quick, if you're here hanging out and you have not followed, hit the follow button now, or, I'm going to come to your house and steal all of your cereal. I know you like that delicious cereal, and I swear to God, I'm going to come and take that shit. No joke. So hit the follow button now. If not, if you're already followed, we are very happy to have you here, as always. And just so folks know, this is very much built into our, you got your Weetabix, exactly. Built into our whole thing is that we do a lot of requests, whatever would be fun, interesting, exciting for folks. So let us know what is of interest for you. And we are happy to guide meditations on that. In fewer than 48 hours, we're going to be back here doing another guided meditation. And if folks know, right now we're sort of on this kick of this idea of introducing this sort of particular to the whole. This is something I've been interested in. So a lot of the meditations have this quality or this aspect to it, but there is a huge breadth of meditations that we do, have lots of fun, hang out, chit chat, and do that kind of thing. What else? If you ever want to watch a playback of one of these, they are on the Twitch, but they're also on our YouTube, and we have lots of videos. So I'm going to put links here. Oops. This should show you how to get in contact with us. That's our website, which we have a lot of free stuff on the website. We have our main YouTube channel and then our playback channel, which has longer form stuff. Longer form videos are there. Joe Explicit says, I'll be there. This was really fun. I'm glad it was fun. That's our job, is to have fun and meditate and change our lives for fun. I'm going to make some notes on today's meditation and see the similarities to next week's. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see what's the same, what's different. And we have a giant library of these things. So if ever that is of interest, please feel free. Also, P.S., this link is popping up in the chat if you haven't seen it already. We have 15 essential meditations, which is the 15 meditations I start with any private student, any group, any whatever. Those are the 15 that we start with. Those are linked right there in the chat now. Feel free to grab those. If you're watching this in playback, it should be in the description of the video. So folks, lovely as always to see you. And I have a wish. I have a wish. I have a wish. What a good word. Wish. It sounds like the ocean. So folks, my wish for you is simple. In this particular moment right now, this specificity, notice the specificity of this particular experience that we're having here. Joe Explicit says, thank you for today's session. Well, thank you very much. So this particular experience that you're having right now is just to introduce that particularity to all of the overall experience that we can have contact with in this particular moment. So that spaciousness, that openness, that lightness that from your experience, you don't even have to find it because you know it. You've had the experience. So opening up to that experience now. The mind might plan and say what's going to happen for the rest of the day. The sense of time might be coming in, the sense of self, who I am, all of those different pieces, just opening up to all of those right now and letting them all mingle together. Everything we can experience and everything that is experienced at this moment, just letting it all be one large pool and noticing that that large pool has a kind of gravitational pull. It can feel like a place to reside. And over time, today in particular, we can teach the system to rely on that. So my wish for you is simply to notice the sense of home that is possibly available, possibly here for us all the time in this kind, open awareness. Okay, folks, have a lovely day. As always, practice well, Take care of each other. Have fun. And we'll see you